So I'm a biologist at the Animal Welfare Division of the Vetsuisse Faculty here in Bern, and my research focuses on the question how animal experiments can be made more efficient. So in Switzerland we have a broad societal consensus that animals can be used for animal experiments. But this consensus is based on the understanding that researchers do not harm animals unnecessarily. That is, they have to strive to use the least number of animals and inflict the least amount of harm to them as possible in order to reach their research goals, which is the accumulation of new specific knowledge. Unfortunately, we have seen in the past that research is not always that efficient. So meta-analyses of biomedical research have shown that a large proportion of study results published in the primary research literature cannot be reproduced. This is a problem because irreproducible results do not contribute to our knowledge. The knowledge gain from such studies is basically zero. And in order to reduce the number of animals sacrificed for inconclusive research, we should use better experimental designs, and this is my research focus. Well, I propose some methods, statistical designs that are more efficient, where you can heterogenize study samples without needing larger sample sizes, and these designs have the advantage that they have greater external validity and also better reproducibility. These methods are not new. I have not developed these methods, so my contribution is basically lecturing and giving talks at seminars and at conferences to convince my fellow scientists that these methods are actually very useful. In my opinion, a poor understanding of statistical concepts, even among senior scientists. Statistical analysis is sometimes almost mystified, some sort of black box where you put your data in and then you get some significant stars out on the other side. But many scientists and researchers feel not really comfortable with arguing about the pros and cons of statistical approaches. So they sometimes avoid these discussions and prefer to go along with these old, often suboptimal approaches they have used in the past. I will continue trying to convince my fellow researchers to use these methods to improve statistical experimental design and to implement these methods in their daily research. This is with respect to heterogenizing and diversifying study samples, using designs that are fit for that, but also reconsidering the type of analysis we do afterwards with respect to hypothesis testing, exploratory data analysis, power calculations as they're done right now. They are sometimes not very helpful. And also the question, for example, of one versus two-sided testing, which is a contentious issue for a few decades already. Now, this fear of engaging in statistical discussion is nothing which is restricted to young researchers, but it applies basically to researchers of all age categories, from the very young doctoral student up to the seasoned professor. Specifically, senior researchers have the problem that their basic statistical education is of decades back, and many things have changed since then. And sometimes the new statistical literature is rather intimidating, and it would take a lot of time and effort to really engage with it. And people hardly find time to do this, and because of the limited time they have to really commit to this, they then don't feel comfortable because they feel they don't really have the appropriate knowledge. I think we are on a good way. We have a lively discussion about improving experimental designs, about improving statistical analysis or experimental plans for studies and how to evaluate them. We have a lively discussion about the distinction between exploratory research and hypothesis testing, together with a discussion about the usefulness of certain power calculations. So these are things that are ongoing. It takes some time, also because in certain, not all people agree on what is the best solution. Very often there will not be a best solution. So it's very often a thing that you have to decide on a case-to-case basis. And it takes time, but we are making progress, I think.